Okay, here's a video to review solving multi-step equations. I want to start with this one just to help you remember how to solve these multi-step equations. Want to remember your goal is to get your x alone. How am I going to go about getting that x alone? Well, I'm going to first undo any addition or subtraction in this particular problem. So I'm going to get rid of this adding 2. What's the opposite of adding 2, or how do I get rid of adding 2? Well, I would subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. When I subtract 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. The only thing left on the left-hand side of this equal sign is 5x. And 22, subtract 2, is 20. Now I'm one step closer to my goal. I want to get this x alone. This says 5 times x equals 20, or the product of 5 and x equals 20. How do I undo multiplying this 5 and this x? The inverse operation of multiplication is division, so I would divide both sides of this equation by 5. 5x divided by 5 would just be x, or 1x. 5 divided by 5 is 1. X equals 20 divided by 5 is 4. So my solution to this equation is 4. My advice is to always check your answers to make sure you're correct by substituting them in. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22. So that is the correct answer. Let's look at the next one, number 2. I have h divided by 3 minus 7 equals negative 2. You always want to work these equations by getting rid of addition or subtraction first. If you don't have parentheses, you want to get rid of those first. But I don't have parentheses here. So I want to get rid of subtracting 7. How do I get rid of subtracting 7? I add 7 to both sides. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. On the left-hand side of my equal sign, the only thing left is h divided by 3. Negative 2 plus 7 is 5. Okay, so my goal is to get my variable by itself. How do I get this h by itself? Well, it's being divided by 3. What's the inverse operation of dividing by 3? That would be multiplying by 3. So 3h over 3 is what you get when you would multiply these, would end up being 1h. Or you can also say these would go away and leave you with 1h equals 5 times 3, which is 15. Now let's see if that will give us the correct answer. I have 15 divided by 3, which is 5. 5 minus 7 is negative 2. So that is the correct answer. Now let's look at number 3. Number 3 and number 2 both have a division problem, but they're not exactly alike. This entire side is being divided by 7, whereas only the variable is being divided by 3 here. So we're going to work this one differently than we work this one. We're going to get rid of this dividing the whole left side by 7 first. How do I get rid of dividing by 7? I would multiply both sides by 7. Okay, 7 times this fraction. These will go away. You're left with k. And I don't like the way this looks. I found this problem and I wrote it down, but I don't like the way it looks. It always reminds me of like using an improper word in an English essay. Plus a negative isn't really proper to write down. We really have k minus 5. That's the same thing. K plus negative 5 is the same thing as k minus 5. I'm going to write k minus 5 equals 2 times 7, which is 14. And then I'm going to get my variable alone. What's with my variable? Subtracting 5. How do I undo subtracting 5? I add 5 to both sides. Okay, negative 5 plus 5, that's 0. So k is the only thing left on the left side of the equal sign, and 14 plus 5 is 19. Now let's check our answer to see if that works. 19 plus negative 5 is 14. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So that is the correct answer. Number 4. How's this one different from the other ones that we've done? Well, if you look at this one, hopefully you notice you have two variables. You have 4h minus 1h minus 3 equals negative 21. I need to combine these terms since they're on the same side. The most common mistake that I see students make is they'll do this. Don't do that. You only do this inverse operation when you're talking about variables being on opposite sides of the equal sign. And we don't have variables on opposite sides of the equal sign, so I'm going to erase that. When they're on the same side of the equal sign, these two h's are both on the left side of the equal sign. When they're on the same side, you just combine your like terms. 4h minus 1h is 3h. And now we solve it like we do all the other ones. Okay, so now I need to get this h alone. I need to get rid of subtracting 3 first before I get rid of multiplying by 3. How do I get rid of subtracting 3? I add 3. That goes away, it makes 0. On the left side of the equal sign, the only thing left is 3h. Negative 21, trying to fix my h. Negative 21 plus 18, negative 21 plus 3 is negative 18. Now I need to get my h alone. It's being multiplied by 3. How do I undo multiplying by 3? I divide both sides by 3. So h will equal negative 6. Now let's check our answer. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Negative 24 minus negative 6 is negative 24 plus 6, which is negative 18. Negative 18 minus 3 is negative 21. So that is the correct answer. On to number 5. Now number 5 is different than 1 through 4. I have parentheses. Hopefully you've been trained well to know that when you have a number outside the parentheses with a variable, you should distribute that 6. The operation that occurs when you distribute is multiplication. I'm going to write this step, but you don't have to write it. Hopefully at this point you can go straight to the answer. But that's what you're doing when you distribute. You're multiplying both of those terms in the parentheses by 6. Now notice I did not multiply 6 and 24. This parenthesis here tells me to stop multiplying. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply. This is actually what I would have written down when working the problem. 6n plus 24 equals 24. And now I'm ready to solve. Okay, I want to get rid of this adding 24. My goal is to get the variable alone. So I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. Students see this and automatically think they've done something wrong when they look at this next step. 24 plus negative 24 is 0. The only thing left on the left side is 6n. Bring down my equal sign. 24 minus 24 is 0. It is okay to get 0 here when you subtract. 6 times something can give me 0. And hopefully you know what that is without actually working it out. But if you don't, that's okay. We'll continue. To find my variable, I'm going to undo the multiplication that's occurring between 6 and n. To undo multiplication, I divide. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. N is going to equal what's 0 divided by 6? That is 0. Now let's go check that and make sure we're correct. Okay, so 0 plus 4, do what's inside the parentheses first. 0 plus 4 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So 0 is the correct answer. Okay, this problem. I have a number outside here, and I have this number being multiplied. Let me tell you the most common mistake that students make. The first thing they do is add these and put 11. Don't do that, because I need to distribute. I need to multiply 7 by 3m and 7 by -6 before I continue. If you need to write that step like I did earlier, you may. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply. 7 times 3m is 21m. 7 times -6 is -42. And bring down my -24. Now, I'm on the left-hand side of this equal sign, analyzing what I need to do, and I notice I have like terms. Don't do this. Remember, you're on the same side of the equal sign. You don't want to subtract or do the inverse operation on the same side. You just want to combine like terms. I don't have any other m's to combine. 4 and -42 is -38. Then I'll just bring down my -24. I knew this would happen eventually. I made up these problems, and this one is not going to turn out nice and pretty the way the rest of these did, but that's okay. Okay, I want to get this -38 away from the 21m, so I'm going to add 38 to both sides. The only thing left on the left side is 21m. Bring down the equal sign. 38 minus 24, I believe, is 14. Is that right? Yep. And then I'm going to divide by 21 to get my m alone. Okay, so m is going to equal 21 will not divide into 14 evenly. So when you end up in that circumstance, just write down that fraction and then reduce. 14 and 21 do have a common factor. They're both divisible by 7. So my final answer is going to be 2. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 2/3. Okay, I am still going to check this, believe it or not. So let's go up here and see. 3 times 2/3. Well, that's 6/3. 6/3 is 2. So 2 minus 6 is -4. -4 times 7 is -28. -28 plus 4 is -24. So my answer of 2/3 is correct.